Amanda, we're back.
Good to be back.
So we'll just jump right into it. So the last one I just posted a couple days ago. Awesome responses as always. You articulated yourself well. So to jump right into it, I want to ask you a question that some other people ask me is why is building relationship outside of your job, outside of people you work with or your clients, why is that so important to you?
Oh my goodness. I've clearly reached the point in my career where who I know is so much more valuable than what I know. And there are a few big challenges I face that I don't sort of hive mind try to solve. Pattern recognition matters, right? What you've seen and what you've experienced matters. And one person can only have so many experiences that help them inform future, decisions. But when you have a great network, you can tap into their experiences and their patterns and their lessons learned. So you don't have to make every mistake yourself. I think it helps with decision making. It helps with sourcing, if you need to hire somebody, it helps getting tactical things done. And then it's just an enjoyable way to spend time is, talking to smart people and learning from them. So it is both about getting things done and quality and quantity of work. And I think it's how a lot of adults in business actually get through the day.
Got it. Makes complete sense. Um, so with that, can you walk me through all the different things that you're involved in? Obviously, CEO of JellyVision, but um, your resume, your bio is just so. If you could just walk me through that, and even if you want to say like why you got involved in those things, that'd be great.
Yeah, Mike Gamson calls them hobby jobs. So I have to be clear when I call them my hobby jobs, I'm stealing his language. But it is important to me to give back to a community that has been so generous to me and to JellyVision. Chicago Tech absolutely has promoted and supported and rooted for JellyVision, and it's still a town where anyone's win is everyone's win, and you feel it. So I am, as the recipient of such generosity, thought it would be time to try to give back and share lessons learned because that's what happened to us. There are two areas in which I spend a lot of time. One is being a board member for a company that isn't JellyVision. A huge part of the reason I do it is utterly selfish, which is to stay fresh, to look at other businesses very critically, and not just mine, to learn about other patterns, to work with other board members, to talk to other CEOs and get that outside perspective and sort of firsthand view, because things are more similar than you think. Challenges are more repeated than you think. Successes are more borrowable than you think. And so I get a tremendous amount from these boards I sit on and try to give back in kind. And I also am pretty passionate about getting women to invest in early stage startups. I've become pretty involved with Hyde Park Angels. I'm currently chair of membership there, which means I try to bring in new investors. And the reason why it's important to me is I believe if you change who writes checks, you change who gets checks, and therefore change who has a chance to grow a big business quickly and having a meaningful outcome. And I told that to Hyde Park Angels when I joined, and Jeff Kleben, who's one of the elder statesmen there, said that's a really terrible reason to angel invest. Like there are a lot less expensive ways to evangelize and promote diversity and inclusion than angel investing. And then I started to take it more seriously, learned about portfolio theory, and really tried to create a balanced, high risk asset class. But I am a huge believer in HPA's mission of people first, of saying we're going to create an ecosystem of people who have lots of different life experiences, who care deeply about helping entrepreneurs and their teams win, and sort of bringing, our background and experiences to bear, not just cash, so that Chicago has more big companies and more big wins. So I love the audacity of entrepreneurs and founders. I'm not a founder myself. I just sort of collect and admire them.
Yeah.
And it is a really fun way to look at lots of really smart, bold people trying to solve new problems.
So how
As
long have you been
yeah.
involved with HPA? When did you get started?
I think it's 3 years. So it's years, but not like decades.
Got it. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just
No,
want.
I'm just saying those are the kinds of hobby jobs I give. And people always say, well, how do you get board seats? I want board seats. Every single board I'm on started with just organic conversations. I might have been on a panel with someone. I met at a dinner. We had a really good conversation. They asked to follow up. And it always started with me just giving advice away for free, caring about the company, caring about the CEO, trying to be helpful whenever they call. They may have a problem about something. If I can make a connection for them or send them to a resource or just talk through how we had handled it for better and for worse. But every single board I serve on started with just me trying to be, helpful to the CEO, and then it became formalized over time.
How many different companies are you on the board for?
5.
Wow. Okay. So how do you manage that time with JellyVision and those 5 companies?
So one is it pretty much when you have a hobby job, you understand that there's a fixed amount of time. I can't get through a week at JellyVision without it taking at least probably 45 hours of work. Not banter, not water cooler talk, 45 hours of work. So if I have a 3-hour board meeting, I know that one of my work days or my weekends will include 3 hours of overflow JellyVision work. It doesn't go away. It just sort of time shifts. And because my kids are older and because my husband is incredibly understanding about how much I love these hobby jobs, I just kind of fit it in, and work will ebb and flow. Like JellyVision work will ebb and flow. It doesn't go away. It just shifts into different day parts. So that I can try to fit in these activities that inspire me and flex and really wake me up, which is important mental gymnastics for me to stay sharp and fresh.
Okay. And so just for other people that may have questions on it, like you do it because you want to like be on the board and you're because of your credibility and things like that. But like how does someone that doesn't have that yet, someone that's a lot younger in their career, or even if it's like someone like me, right? Like if I wanted to aim to be on the board of a company, what would that person need to do?
Start being helpful at Techstars. Start being helpful at 1871. Start being helpful everywhere young founders congregate, and have something to teach them. Have experiences you're really generous about sharing, have resources that you can point them to, be able to make introductions, whatever it might be, but just start getting good at showing up and being generous. And then follow up. Like if you really like a company and really like a CEO, it's worth it to kind of stay in touch and say, hey, I remember we had talked about this. How's it going? Do you still need help? There are things I can do for you. How's your fundraising going, et cetera. And just kind of like remembering, it's like the most forgotten fact in business. The most forgotten fact in business is that we're all human. Companies don't invest in companies, people invest in people. And so just building relationships, getting back to networking, is how you end up with things like board seats or advisory roles, by just caring and trying to be helpful in a consistent way over time.
And then now with COVID, how has that changed for you, like all your involvement?
I am missing, if I go to an event now, there are people I know. And it's a great way to catch up with people that may not be on your radar. And I am missing the random drive-bys and the bump intos and the catching up very much. And I realized you have to be intentional about it. And some people are just better at it than I am. And I have to get better at remembering there are people I want to just check in on. There are people I want to give a shout out to. There are, I get these text messages from people. I'm like, why can't I be a person who remembers just to reach out and drop somebody a text? It's so lovely. So I'm really being taught by my friends and my network who are so good and thoughtful at it. Megan McCann just sent me a book. And then she followed up and gave me like a couple of Pilates classes. And she's just managing to be Megan, like taking care of people in such a thoughtful way. Even though I haven't laid eyes on her in person, it's been months since we had wine, since, pre-COVID. But there are still ways to be incredibly present and incredibly human. And you just have to create a system and be disciplined about it, I think. And you can still care and have meaningful relationships, even when you can't be in the same room or drinking wine, which is kind of my like go-to.
That's funny you mentioned Megan. I just got introduced to her virtually like a couple of weeks ago, and we've never met in person, but it's always been through Zoom. So
She's a stud. She does so much for Chicago, so much for entrepreneurs. She's amazing, and she's just really nice.
yeah, definitely. So that's really it, I guess, that I wanted to run through with you. I think it's been great. It's been really beneficial. I just posted yours yesterday, and there's already a lot of comments and reactions. And I started that IGTV stuff, and you're on it. So
Yeah, I'll just say one final thing, and this isn't my thought. I'm stealing from somebody else, which regretfully I can't remember who said it. But I was at a conference, and someone said if you make more than $100,000 a year, you can be an angel investor. you can start to write checks. You can start to contribute to who gets capital to grow faster and when. And I would just encourage people to realize it's not just your time, but if you can write a $5,000 check or a $10,000 check, you can start to change who has a chance at winning. And I would encourage people to give back. Yeah, it's a high risk asset class for sure, but it's also a really meaningful way to try to level a playing field and create opportunities for cool companies to solve important problems.
That's actually great to know too, because I think people have questions on the angel investing and if there's a minimum and if they need to meet certain criteria. So I'm really glad you brought that up.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, Benny. Thanks for doing these and thanks for the opportunity to grab the mic.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. Let's see.